Hi everybody, welcome to today's episode. We have got a very special episode for you today. We have got Taruna Robinson. She is a senior security lead. And without further ado, let's go over and chat with Taruna. Hi Taruna.
Hi Mandy.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
So I think you're the first cybersecurity kind of specialist that we've had on the show. So welcome.
Thank you very much.
So I asked this question with everybody. So how did your career begin? How did you kind of get to where you are now?
My career wasn't particularly planned.
Okay.
It just happened and I fell into stuff. So fell into IT many years ago because my sister was doing a degree at one of the universities and I went to stay with her for a while, a long weekend. I thought, oh, I could do this. And that's where I had the idea from.
Okay.
Then I did an A-level, then I did my own degree in IT and I thought, oh, this is okay. This works for my brain.
Yeah.
I wasn't really an artsy person like English or whatever, but this worked for my brain, so I continued from there.
Yeah.
So that's where it started from, basically.
And you've worked for like big corporate firms, haven't you, and developed. And who were your kind of early sort of or cheerleaders, would you say? Who?
I'd say first and foremost my mum and dad. Mm-hmm. They always said, go get yourself a degree and do something that you enjoy. They fully supported that. Always did. And my mum still does. My dad passed away a long time ago.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay. I mean, he supported everything, you know. So one of the things I would say he supported me on was when I actually went from permanent to contract many years ago. And I sat down and I said, I had a conversation. I said, look, I may not, I want to try this contracting. It's not necessarily a proper job in the sense of, you don't always know when the contract ends. And I said, if I'm unemployed, is it okay with you? And I said, yeah, if you don't try it now, when are you going to try it? So I tried it and it worked for the time that I was contracting. So I'd say they are and were my cheerleaders.
Wow, that's lovely. And it's kind of like, if you don't try it, you won't know.
Yeah, and then as you get older, you get like adult responsibilities, which makes it much harder for you to try the things, that you thought about when you were young.
Are there any things that you think about that you want to try maybe, or are you just happy to stick with tech?
I've tried so many different things.
Okay.
So many different things over the last 25, 30 years. So I started off, my career started off contracting as not even a permanent employee.
Okay.
Because there weren't that many jobs going and the jobs that were going were contract jobs. I thought, let me just take a contract job at the start. I've done things like overnight tech support.
Oh, wow.
Back in the day when we actually had to go into the office because you couldn't dial in and you could use the internet for such things. Yeah. What else have I done? I've done project managing building renovations. So I started off in tech. So I've done project management. I've done being a developer, DBA, parts of a Unix admin, project manager, SQL Server developer, and then I fell into Agile for a long time.
Yeah,
and
that's how we met.
Yeah, and that's how I met a lot of people that we both have in common.
Yeah,
and that sort of again worked with the way my brain works.
Yeah.
And I did that for a long, long time. Yeah. And now my career shifted, so I'm now in cyber.
Nice. So how did that happen, the shift?
Shift has happened over time. Because I noticed the types of roles I would go for and end up with were coaching quite technical teams, infrastructure teams, teams who deal with, you know, stuff that happens when cyber kicks in. So it wasn't a planned, thought out move. It started off in that direction, and I just thought, okay, well, this is something I could enjoy, something I get my teeth into. So I coached a lot of sort of very technical teams for about 5 or 6 years, and then sadly, like many people, I was going to be made redundant last year.
Okay.
About the same time last year, actually.
Yeah.
And that's when I thought to myself, I either move and go fully into cyber now, or I stay where I am, and that was doing Agile coaching. Yeah. Because I knew enough about it to talk to the technical people, to translate from the technical stuff, you know, to the leaders. So I knew enough to do that. So I thought, well, if I've got enough knowledge to do all of that, then I can just actually move into cyber properly as such.
Yeah, that's lovely. And if somebody out there didn't know what cyber is, how would you sort of describe it to them? How would you simplify it? I mean, if you could, what kind of way would they understand?
Cyber has many aspects to it. The things that people hear most about is when big organizations get hacked by people and or other organizations. Just basically when something happens in your systems that you don't want it to happen. So obviously recently there's lots of stuff going on about various issues in the world, and there are lots of cyber attacks related to that because everybody wants an advantage. But generally, you know, it's like people hitting companies. Sometimes it's for money, sometimes it's for technology, sometimes it's just for information, sometimes it's for data, because if you take all the data now, in say 5 years' time, there may be the technology available to do something with that data, and we see that now. So it's just about, I suppose, illegal stuff that you shouldn't really be doing by taking people's identities or information or secrets.
So it's basically like something that can attack a system and make it vulnerable, steal the data, or
sometimes it's just making it vulnerable and waiting for the opportunity when you need the information, because a lot of the time hackers just go in there, have a look and wait, and they could wait a couple of years if they wanted to.
Wow. Because
if nobody knows that the hole exists, nobody will even think about plugging the hole.
Yeah, understood. So you've moved into this world which is really valuable because nobody wants their systems to be hacked or vulnerable. So what are your lessons? Like what are you learning along the way? What are your challenges, if any? And would you promote it to other people? Would you encourage other people to go into that field?
I'll definitely encourage people because it is growing massively. It's often described, even by me, as a cat and mouse game, where if you think about the old cartoons on the TV, Tom and Jerry the mouse always gets away, without a doubt, and that is the hacker. The hacker is always 1, 2, 3 steps ahead of anybody trying to chase him. And if we consider, say, cyber is in existence, so even for, say, just minimum of 10 years, 10 years is a long time to be playing catch up and not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
And I don't see that situation changing for a long time. So it's definitely worth getting into. Definitely really interesting. Very varied from day to day. Yeah. And again, there are so many different types of roles within cyber.
Okay.
Not just, not just the sort of the up in your face when the the cyber attack happens, that's when things are very warm, things are moving very quickly. But also all the different things behind the scenes to prevent that from happening.
Yeah.
So what are people doing to their systems to actually protect them, to prepare them, have all the strategies and processes in place to make sure that if something does happen, you know what to do and how to handle it?
Yeah. So are there any kind of names for these other kinds of roles that are also making cyber be better? And
yeah, there's a lot. So if we start at sort of the front end, I suppose I could say. So the front end, I would say, is something like threat intelligence. So that's when people, threat intelligence experts, go into different various forums, groups, to find out what's happening. So I know when I was a lot younger, we used to be able to, please don't tell anybody this, you used to be able to get, different pieces of kit, so you could able to watch many more TV programs than you should. And I think everybody's done this at some point.
Maybe.
Yeah. So there are many forums like that where you can buy fire sticks and things like that. So these people would go into these forums and see what the chats are talking about, who is involved, and try to get information from that side of things. So that's where it would start in a way. And then that will be taken on to one path where, if you eventually find where the servers are, where the people are, then you can get the authorities involved. You've also got things like threat modeling and pen testing. So threat modeling is very architecture based, where you have to understand the architecture and the possible vulnerabilities within an architecture. Then you've got pen testing, which is what everybody generally knows about, the penetration testers. So there are many types of penetration tests. You can have physical ones where you actually go to a building, for example, and see if you can use your intelligence and means to get into the building, to get into somebody's office. But obviously you have to have the relevant bits of signed paper to be able to do that. You can't just go off and try something like that. So all these methods are agreed with suppliers. If you're within an organization, you have to agree with organizations within the management. And then you've got various levels of pen tests where the pen testers go in with no knowledge of what's going on, but the actual organization knows there's something going to happen. Well, not the organization, the management do, the employees don't. So then it's like a real life simulation. Other times it's just internally you can do a pen test of your internal systems. All different aspects to that. Then you've got the governance side of it. And obviously the governance side of it is quite big, but I work on the telecom side.
Okay.
So it's different because telecoms is classified as a critical infrastructure now. So the government's got lots of regulations for telecoms, which every telecoms company has to follow. And there's a timeline for people to follow. I think it's continuous over the next 3 or 4 years. There's so many different things people could do within just, within just cyber.
Yeah. And what kind of what are your most challenging bits for the work that you do currently? Would you say? From any angle, from whether it's like upskilling or whether it's like with other departments, what are your challenging bits of the
I think it's the breadth of cyber, actually.
Okay. Because
each in itself is a complete speciality. And I'm never going to be a specialist, especially in all of them.
No.
I've got an understanding of some of them more than others. So it's about trying to find a balance and trying to find the right person to ask questions of. And for me, I've never been afraid of asking questions, even though people look at me and think, oh, you know a lot. I do know a lot, but I'm not the expert in everything. So I'm quite happy to put my hand up and say, look, I'm not sure about this. Can you help me? And that's what's actually worked for me. there's always somebody who knows more than you at the end of the day, regardless of what subject it's ever going to be.
Oh, totally.
Yes.
Totally, yeah. What happens when, because you've been an Agile coach as well, so you've got this kind of like really lovely background in people, process. What are your sort of thoughts around dealing with conflict?
Interesting.
Or disruption?
Yeah, I think conflict for me is always, there always is a why behind it. And sometimes the why is misunderstanding of what's actually the situation. Because everybody will see things through a different lens, be it me, be it you, be it a 5-year-old. Because a 5-year-old has a different perspective simply because they're shorter than me. So their eye line is very different. So it's all about perspective. It's all about trying to understand where somebody is trying to come from, and then see if you can actually help them to understand where you're coming from. And in cyber, it's very different in the sense that if there's an issue going on related to cyber, there's only a certain number of ways it can be looked at from my perspective. I'm sure there's people out there who completely disagree with me, and that's fine. So the discussions aren't really conflict. They're discussions about how do we approach this with the best outcome for where we want to be.
Nice. That's interesting, and I can imagine you're brilliant in helping people to get aligned.
It does. It definitely does help because, I mean, tech and IT is always full of, I suppose I could classify them as geeky people, but they're actually really lovely people.
Yeah.
And to have a way to communicate with them and understand them, it actually helps the entire situation. Because they feel, yeah, this person actually gets me. And the management don't see it in any other way except, I don't understand some of that stuff. What's going on? So it's a way of actually bringing people together.
And do you think sometimes the simpler language is better than the sort of hardcore technical language?
100%. 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
So, Taruna, can you talk us through like a decision you've recently made, a tough one, or, about a problem or something? I don't know, a decision you've made, and how did you go about making it? Yeah.
To be honest, some of the decisions over the last... Okay, let's go back a step.
Mm-hmm.
So I could approach this question in a number of ways. So I'm going to approach it completely differently. So the decision I made last year when I was made redundant was a really tough decision to make, simply because my love of people and communication and all things agile. So for me to be able to say fully, oh my God, I've got to actually leave this career and move to something very different was a major decision point. Although I'd been moving in that direction for a long time, and it does interest me, it's a lot more technical. So you have to understand the things I described about pen testing and architecture, and listen to the conversations that are happening and be aware of things that are happening in the outside world that may impact what's going on, because it's always changing. But my decision was, I suppose, based on the fact that I thought, this career could actually take me further than Agile has. Can't say I've not enjoyed Agile. I absolutely loved it. And I always look back at some of the things that I've done, the conversations I've had with people. I still meet up with a bunch of Agile people simply because they're lovely people. Including you, Mandy. But I think for me, it was about what's right for me and what's right for my family at the time.
Yeah.
And this seemed like the right move. So that's a big decision. I think for me, technically, it would be just looking at the different rules and regulations that we have to follow and picking up on something that somebody's missed. That's really hard, because you have to know a lot and be able to ask questions. And as I said before, not be afraid to ask the silly questions, because if somebody's missed it, they've missed it because they just forgot about it. It just passed them by. So I did pick up on one of those things recently. So it's actually how we've actually had to stop a system going into full production. It's still running in, oh my God, I've forgotten the word.
Staging?
Dual running. They're still running in dual running simply because we couldn't push it all the way through. So that prevented that. So it's just being able to ask the questions even though you may not want to.
Okay. So definitely a different role, a different position, stance, and is there anything that you would change in your industry? Is there anything you would?
I would love for organisations to actually be more, funny enough, more agile. To make it easier to respond to things. But I think this is something that happens across the board. It's not just in cyber. To be able to listen to the people on the ground and actually take heed. Whereas a lot of companies still are very slow. I mean, they're getting there, but they're still very, very slow.
So how do you think Agile would improve if more organisations kind of went down that avenue of Agile?
It's about picking things up early.
Right.
Some of the things that I've seen, I think, could have been so easily picked up. I wonder why they weren't.
Okay.
And it's hard to ask the questions, well, why wasn't it picked up? Because I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just trying to figure out in my own head in where in the cycle of things did these things get missed.
So like a bit of LFE lessons from that experience thing would have been useful.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Do you think there's a tough problem the industry is facing?
I think it's growing so rapidly and things are changing so much. Because if I think back to when I started, like there wasn't really a concept of hacking. Like we had a room and the office just over there as such. It was locked and the key was in the safe just sitting behind me. So if I wanted to hack into it and pull the plug, I could. And it was not even a thought. Whereas the whole world is now changed and sort of cyber is so prevalent and hacking is so prevalent. If you actually look at the relevant news, you'll see there's so many happening all the time. I just think it's so fast moving. Trying to adapt to something like that, there has to be a better way for people to try and adapt.
Yeah, and virtualization has made it more tricky, hasn't it?
Yeah, virtualization, cloud, the advent of AI.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we may think, so we on this side of the fence may think we're pretty good at AI. But trust me, the guys on the other side of the fence that are a lot better than us.
Well, because the tools are available, aren't they?
Yeah, everybody's got access to the tools. There's no limits to who can use them.
Yeah.
But their mindset is of a different way of thinking. So they will use the same tools as me and you and get completely different results because of what they put in.
Yeah.
Which is normal.
Yeah.
But then, we're still going to be playing catch up with that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's take a little break. Talking some very serious things here. Right. Let's see how your brain works now. What are you terrible at, but secretly enjoy?
What am I terrible at? Does it have to be tech related?
It could be anything, really. You secretly enjoy something. You're not that good at it, but so what?
Okay, so this is me being completely. It's nothing to do with tech.
No, it doesn't have to be.
I love cooking.
Okay.
But I have to follow a recipe.
Okay.
If I could find a way, I know a couple of people who see stuff in the kitchen and they can just put it into the bowl and it comes out, oh my God, like a gourmet meal. I wish I could have that kind of skill.
That's my useless talent. That is my useless talent.
Oh my God, Mandy.
What book or movie changed your mind about something?
I think it was probably, funny enough, it's a movie called Meet the Robinsons, and it's got nothing to do with Robinson at all. It was just the concept in the movie.
Ah.
And the concept in the movie was keep moving forwards.
Mm-hmm.
So you've always got to keep moving forwards in life.
I like that.
And that's what I picked up from that movie. It's a kids' movie, but it's got a lot, a lot of meaning in there. Like a lot of kids' movies have a lot of meaning in there.
I like that. Keep moving forward. That's amazing. You ready for one more question? What was the weirdest thing you believed as a kid?
Oh my God, what was the weirdest thing I believed as a kid? I suppose it's what many kids believe. It's like, oh my God, there's a Santa Claus and there's a tooth fairy. Because my brother and my birthdays is very near Christmas, so we always used to get this mound of gifts. Oh. It was a serious mound, and I have to thank my sister for that. Oh. It was always this like massive mound. We also love it. It was always a big celebration. And it wasn't obvious until we were older. Yeah. Like, it was just you guys. Oh. And then obviously you watch that in your own kids and the innocence of them. And then you think, this is why they did it.
Oh, it's lovely. That's beautiful. So you've basically, your career path has kind of pivoted into cyber now, into security. Well, are there any kind of early mistakes that kind of have helped you in your journey to where you've got to? Are there any kind of, like bleeding obvious ones? It's kind of like as part of your development.
I think my career has been so like varied. It's always about trying to see what opportunities there are at that moment in time. Mm-hmm. And as I said, when I was young, there was no cyber. There was no cloud, let alone cyber. Shh, don't tell anybody. But just seeing what opportunities there are. If I would say there was a bump in the road, no, I can't really say a bump because, like everybody else at this day and age, I've been made redundant a few times.
Okay.
I've had contracts cut short. I've had contracts extended. I've travelled because I wanted to travel the world, so my contracts were in different parts of the world. But it's just about following the opportunities that you see and trying to get to where you want to be. It might not be easy, but I have to say, looking at what's open for younger people these days, I can actually know it's 10 times harder for them than it was for me. I've got two young people of my own, and I know a lot of their friends are in similar situations, so I know how hard it is.
Yeah.
So it's also about making compromises and sometimes taking a role which doesn't seem the right role for you, but it actually is. I suppose the bump in the road would be when I left university. I couldn't get a job, so I took a contract, and that obviously led to other things. This wasn't the most obvious thing for me to do, but it led to many other things.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I think that's what happens in life. You kind of find that way, don't you? If there's something that you're trying to do and it's not happening, there's almost like this message that's coming through, but maybe we're not tapping into it, but you tapped into it, which was take a contract, try a different avenue. So, yeah. Cool. Lovely, lovely. How would you define success for yourself?
Oh my God. Am I happy? That's literally it. Wow. Success for me isn't...
Because I'm going to say define happiness for yourself. What do you mean?
I have somewhere to stay. My kids are happy. They've got enough money to do whatever they want with. Sometimes they're annoying, obviously, as any parent would know.
Sometimes, yeah. That's good. I'm glad you said that.
You know, that I can... I mean, my passion is travel and always has been, so that I can travel as and when. That I can still actively walk from A to B. And I'm free to do everything I want to do in that sense. And that's what makes me happy. I think when I was young, everyone thinks, oh my God, I want to have a career. I want to be really successful. And then it's like, you've done that. You've got that T-shirt. Okay, well, now what? But I think I've been at the now what stage for a long, long time. Because I started contracting quite young. And a long time ago, probably before contracting was like fashionable. So I did all of that. I did all the traveling. I did all the really successful consultancies and all that sort of stuff, really quite young. But it didn't give me what I want. Didn't give me the satisfaction. And that's when I learned very early on, this is not for me. I'm not here to climb the career corporate ladder. Because it's not going to give me the happiness that I want. So yeah, just, you know, I can go to the park and go and have a walk.
So there's a sense of kind of like the freedom or that liberation.
Yeah, it's in a way, it's letting go of the rat race.
Nice.
So I'm still in the rat race because I still have a full-time job. I've still got to be there doing everything that I do. But it's knowing that I've got so many other things that I can do that make me really happy.
I love that.
So my career and work is not the be-all and end-all. Everything else is.
That's beautiful. That really is.
Thank you.
So how do you keep that? So you do keep the work-life balance somehow. How have you maintained that? And how could other people tap into that?
So what I've done over the last 5-8 years or so, I stopped having anything on my phone work-related. I always used to have it. It never used to bother me. But then a few years ago, I decided, no, I actually want to completely separate myself. And it's really worked. Where some people can just do that, I wasn't able to just do that. So people have got my number if they want to call me. So if there's something that needs me, they will find a way to contact me. But I don't need to be plugged in. I don't need to look at emails. I mean, where I am now is very, very good in a work-life balance. I had the option of getting a second phone, and I said, well, I don't need it in the big scheme of things because I'm not frontline. So I don't need it. And as I've discovered, I really don't need it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I've done it. Just take myself away and then make sure that I don't look at work stuff on the weekend. I look at it on a Sunday evening so I know what happened on a Monday.
Yeah.
And I turn my laptop off and I'm ready because then I've reminded myself what my meetings are, where I need to be, where the notes are, everything else, and then I'm ready.
Good. What about social media? So what about those sorts of apps? And because it kind of partially work related. If you think about LinkedIn, a lot of people, do use LinkedIn with their work colleagues as well.
Yeah. Again, I've more or less unplugged.
You just unplugged it?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm still on LinkedIn, but my profile doesn't actually show me in my current role because I just haven't updated it. I will at some point in time. And I do follow and listen to and read about some of the things that are going on about people that I'm connected with, but I'm not I don't post really on LinkedIn. I've got other social media apps. I've got Instagram. I've got a whole 45, 50 followers.
Wow.
And I could say I know each one personally. I've met each one personally.
That is nice.
So I'm not really big on any of that. I'm more active than TV watching. Although my son would probably laugh at me and my daughter would laugh at me because I've been watching this, a first program I've ever binged watch in my life.
Come on, share.
It's on Apple TV.
Okay.
Shouldn't say that. It's called Shrinking.
Oh.
And it's just had me in giggles all the way through.
Wow.
So that's the first time in my life I've ever binge watched anything, and that's it.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Okay.
Cool stuff. So if you had a billboard to inspire future professionals, what would it say?
I think really simply, you can learn something from everybody, regardless of who they are and what they do. So it could be a life lesson. It could just be something about your role. So I talk to everybody at work. I talk to the cleaners. I talk to the apprentices. I talk to senior managers. When I was doing my building renovation, I was working with builders of all sorts. And again, I learned loads of things from them. So you don't know what you're going to learn from who and in what situations. So always be open to it. Don't dismiss somebody just because they don't have a title. The title actually means nothing in the big scheme of things.
Very sage advice. Very sage advice. Nice. Is there anything else that you'd want to share with the viewers about yourself, or any other kind of sage?
I think the most sage thing would be, don't leave it too late to realise that how important your work-life balance actually really is. I was lucky. I found out really early on. Whereas I know a lot of people have done the corporate career and then realised later in life there's so many more important things to do. I'm not saying obviously career is important. It is. But don't forget the rest of your life.
And do you think corporate places are trying to bridge that gap as well?
Some definitely are. Some. I mean, I have made choices in my career as to where I want to be based on work-life balance. I did the consultancy stuff early on and I never went back. Although I've interviewed intermittently at different consultancies, I've always turned it down because I thought, no, I can't go back because it's not what I want to do. There has to be choices that you're also able to make for yourself. Sometimes there are no choices and that's the road you've got to take, and that's fine. But, make the choice for how you're feeling and keep that in mind, because it is really important for longevity.
So I'm going to ask you another question. If you could have a superpower, what would that superpower be?
Oh my God. Again, it's nothing work related, actually. I'd probably like to go back in time and talk to dead people. But no, just talk to people about what their life was like, what they experienced. Like my dad came over here in the 50s. I'd love to know what he experienced. I'd love to know. I can only imagine, and I know a lot of what he experienced, but I'd love to be able to talk to him. I'd love to be able to talk to Nelson Mandela, because I went to South Africa a couple of years after he was released and all that kind of stuff. So when I was there, it wasn't an easy thing to do. I was working there, and I was there for a year. So I'd love to be able to talk to him about life before and life after and what he would have liked. I think you have to know where you come from to know where you're going. I think a lot of these people have so many things to learn from, and they're so knowledgeable, and I would say so well read, because I read, but I don't read anywhere as much as I would like to. And obviously I don't retain as much information as I would like to. So it's just about, learning different things from people in history.
What are your thoughts about AI? Because AI can do so many things now. We talk about history. I don't know if you've seen some of the AI models that make photographs come alive and all those sorts of things. What are your thoughts? Generally or more specifically? What What do you?
I think AI is moving so quickly. The cat's out of the bag as such. And we have to be able to... So something I saw today, funny enough, this morning before I came in, was some people commenting on, well, AI can do all of these things. What are we as a human race going to do when AI says no? We're given all this power to AI, saying, go and do this for us. What happens when it says no? Who's going to be able to stop it? So we have to be able to, I mean, you obviously have to be learning about AI to understand where it's going. But it's a minefield because it's moving so quickly. I mean, lots of organisations are saying skill up on AI, and everybody should. Because a lot of roles will be made easier because of them, which is great. But then sometimes it makes you wonder, like, where is all this information coming from? And if I put in some rubbish, which obviously you can see that sometimes the responses are absolute what? How will somebody know if all we're doing is relying on AI to think this is correct? Who's to say it's not correct?
Well, I think that's part of it, isn't it? You do have to question the AI,
but a lot of people don't.
But that's the thing. I think when people just take verbatim an answer, then that's probably where they are missing out the real power of AI, which is actually question the AI. Where did it get that source from? Is it really hallucinating? And more often than not, AI does say back, I'm sorry, I am hallucinating. I don't know. It actually says that back to you. It's crazy, but I think AI is something that people should become more and more familiar with and learn it properly because, like you say, it's knowing when, and also from a security point of view, learning about AI can, probably help a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a great tool. Amazing tool. So this is something I'm doing at the moment. So I'm trying for a certification. So you can plug in information into an agent or a coach, depending on which version of AI you're going for. You tell it specifics of information you want. If you've got documents, you plug in the documents and it will reference those documents and it will throw back at you. Pretend it's teaching you. So in certain circumstances, it's an amazing tool to have because it aids you as the person. So it's helping me to learn. But only it's limited in the sense I've limited to this set of data.
Yeah, because you can't learn everything. And and it's really what you're interested in or what you want to specialise in. Yeah. Taruna, we have come to the end of the podcast, but I could ask you so many more questions. And I think I will after the podcast is finished. But can I just say thank you so much for making the effort to come here. And I hope you've enjoyed it.
I have thoroughly enjoyed it. Brilliant. It's been really, really interesting. Some of the questions you've asked have actually really made me think.
Oh, wonderful.
So, which is good. It doesn't happen often, but it does.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's it, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this episode and look forward to seeing you on another episode. Please like, subscribe and share. Thank you.